Imagine walking into a world-famous restaurant in Tokyo, sitting down and knowing that the next dish could be the riskiest decision you ever make. Some foods are more than just exotic, they're high-stakes gambles where one wrong bite can spell disaster. Bet. All across the globe, people risk their health and even their lives for the thrill of tasting forbidden or dangerous delicacies. Why do they do it? Is it the adrenaline rush, the thrill of cheating death, or the centuries-old tradition? Today, we're counting down the top 10 most dangerous foods people actually eat, starting with two legendary dishes that turn dinner into a life-or-death adventure. #10 fugu. The poisonous Japanese pufferfish in Japan, few dishes are as revered or as feared as fugu. For more than 1,000 years, this deadly pufferfish has captivated the Japanese imagination. Samurai ate it as a sign of courage, and it's said that shoguns would serve fugu to test the loyalty and bravery of their followers. The reason? Fugu is packed with tetrodotoxin, a poison over 1,000 times more powerful than cyanide. Just 2 or 3 milligrams, barely enough to cover the tip of a pencil, can stop your heart in minutes. Despite the risks, the fugu tradition endures. Chefs train for years, sometimes a decade or more, to master the art of removing every last trace of poison. Even then, mistakes happen. There are stories of legendary fugu masters who lost their lives to the very dish they perfected. In fact, every year, several deaths in Japan are linked to home-cooked fugu or amateur chefs. The government maintains a strict list of approved restaurants and chefs, and diners must sign waivers before eating in some places. But the allure is undeniable. Some say that eating fugu is like tasting the forbidden fruit one bite, and you feel a tingling numbness spread across your lips and tongue, a gentle reminder that you're flirting with death. The meat itself is prized for its delicate texture, but the real flavor is psychological. It's the taste of risk, danger, and a centuries-old culinary rite. In recent years, fugu has become a status symbol for wealthy tourists. There are stories of businessmen spending thousands on a single meal, eager to snap a photo of themselves grinning with a plate of fugu sashimi. In rare cases, adventurous chefs will leave a trace of toxin on purpose, just to give diners a slight buzz. It's the ultimate dare meal, where confidence and trust in your chef are the only things between you and disaster. Not all fugu stories end well. In 1975, a famous Japanese kabuki actor died after eating homemade fugu liver. And just a few years ago, several Tokyo diners were hospitalized after ordering the dish from an unlicensed street vendor. Yet still, the legend lives on. In Japan, eating fugu is not just about the food eat, it's about facing fear and walking away a little more alive. Would you take the risk for a story you'll never forget? #9. Casu marzu, the maggot cheese of Sardinia. If fugu is the Russian roulette of sushi, then casu marzu is the daredevil of dairy. Deep in the heart of Sardinia, an island off the coast of Italy, locals have been making this notorious cheese for generations. The process starts innocently enough. Pecorino sheep's milk cheese is left to ferment. But here's the twist. Farmers invite cheese fly larvae, known locally as Piophila caesae, to hatch and burrow inside the wheel. As the maggots digest the cheese, they break down the fats, turning the once solid pecorino into a creamy, oozing mass. The cheese literally moves on your plate, alive with tiny wriggling creatures. Why eat it? For many Sardinians, casu marzu isn't just food. It's a symbol of heritage, pride, and resistance to outside influence. The cheese is traditionally served at weddings and milestone celebrations, offered to guests as a test of bravery. For locals, refusing casu marzu is like rejecting the island itself, but the risks are real. Eating casu marzu can lead to a rare but frightening condition called pseudomyosis, where the larvae survive your digestive tract and cause internal infections. Doctors have documented cases of severe stomach pain, vomiting, and even hospitalization from unwary tourists who dared to try the forbidden cheese. Because of the health hazards, the European Union has banned the commercial sale of casu marzu, making it a sought-after black market delicacy. Wheels are hidden in farmhouse cellars, and only those with the right connections are invited to taste the real thing. Despite the risks, food adventurers from around the world seek out casu marzu, hoping to film their reactions for viral videos. Some claim the flavor is tangy, spicy, and almost addictive, a living cheese. That's more about the experience than the taste. Others say the sight of maggots jumping as you spread the cheese on bread is enough to ruin their appetite forever. But perhaps the most famous cassava marzu story comes from a BBC food documentary crew, whose host nearly gagged on camera after the maggots began leaping several inches off the cheese and landing on his shirt. Locals simply shrugged and kept eating, reminding him that the maggots must be alive for the cheese to be considered safe if the larvae die. It means the cheese has gone bad. For Sardinians, cassava marzu is proof that the most dangerous foods are often the most meaningful, a taste of history, risk, and rebellion in every bite. Would you be bold enough to take a forkful? After two legendary foods that already pushed the boundaries of bravery, let's keep traveling across the globe in search of more heart-stopping delicacies. Literally. Next on our list, a dish that slithers across your plate and a fruit that's as beautiful as it is deadly. Number 8. Sanakji, the live octopus of Korea. Now, let's head to South Korea, where thrill-seeking diners face a different kind of danger, not from toxins, but from the sheer power of a living creature fighting for survival. It's Sanakji, the famous Korean dish that consists of a baby octopus. It's freshly sliced and served while its tentacles are still moving. At first glance, it looks like a plate of squirming noodles, but as your chopsticks get close, you'll notice the tentacles actually cling to the dish and to anything they touch. That's because even after being cut, the nerve endings in the octopus's arms keep firing, causing the suckers to grab onto whatever they find. Eating sanakji is a sensory experience like no other. The tentacles wriggle in your mouth, the texture is both slippery and chewy, and there's a salty ocean flavor that many Koreans describe as the taste of pure freshness. But here's where the danger lies. Every year, a handful of people die from choking on sanakji. The suction cups can stick to the inside of your throat, making it nearly impossible to breathe. Ambulances are sometimes called to restaurants, and there are countless stories in Korean media of locals and tourists alike underestimating the dish. In 2013, a high-profile case in Seoul saw a tourist tragically asphyxiate after a dare gone wrong. Despite these risks, sanakji is a beloved tradition in Korean food culture, especially in coastal towns like Busan or on bustling Seoul streets. For some, it's a symbol of bravery, a test to prove you can handle the wildest tastes the sea has to offer. Some diners dip the tentacles in sesame oil and chili, others eat them plain, relishing the sensation of living food. Television shows and travel bloggers love to feature reactions of foreigners daring each other to try the dish. But seasoned locals offer a word of advice. Chew thoroughly, eat slowly, and always respect the power of your food. In South Korea, sanakji is more than a dish, it's a rite of passage. Would you risk a deadly game of tug-of-war with your dinner just to say you've tried it? Number 7. Ackee, Jamaica's deadly national fruit. From the bustling fish markets of Asia, let's jump to the sun-soaked islands of the Caribbean. Here, among reggae rhythms and white sandy beaches, lies a fruit with a sinister side. Ackee is the national fruit of Jamaica, a symbol of local pride, and the centerpiece of the famous dish ackee and saltfish. It's served in homes and luxury resorts alike, beloved for its creamy, it's almost scrambled egg-like texture and subtle nutty flavor. But one wrong move, and this iconic dish can turn deadly. So what's the danger? Ackee contains hypoglycin, a naturally occurring toxin found in its seeds and in the unripe fruit. If eaten before the fruit opens naturally on the tree, process locals call yawning, or if the toxic red pods and seeds aren't removed properly, the consequences are devastating. Toxin causes Jamaican vomiting sickness, a rapid onset illness marked by violent vomiting, low blood sugar, seizures, and, in the worst cases, coma or death. The story of ackee is woven into Jamaican history. Brought from West Africa in the 18th century, the fruit quickly became a staple, but locals learned the hard way about its dangers. Over the centuries, dozens of documented poisonings and deaths have occurred, often among children or newcomers unaware of the rules. Jamaican mothers and grandmothers have strict rituals for preparing a can never pick the fruit before it's split open by itself. Always remove the pink flesh and shiny black seeds and wash it thoroughly. Despite this, accidents still happen. In 2011, a batch of canned ackee exported to the United States caused a scare when traces of hypoglycemia were found, leading to recalls and stricter import controls. In Jamaica, the government runs public awareness campaigns every year, especially before festivals and holidays, to remind people of the dangers of improper preparation. Yet for many Jamaicans, a key is not just foodite's identity, family, and celebration. Every visitor is encouraged to try a key and saltfish at least once, and the experience is often unforgettable for the right reasons. Those who know the rules say the flavor is worth the risk, and some even claim that facing danger together over a meal brings families closer. There is a sense of pride in eating something that could be deadly if mishandled, a shared understanding that great rewards sometimes require great caution. Would you trust your host and generations of culinary wisdom with your next breakfast? It's more than a meal. The psychology behind dangerous foods? By now, you might be asking, why would anyone risk it? Is the taste really that good? Or is there something deeper going on? Scientists who study food culture say that eating dangerous foods isn't just about flavor, it's about ritual, identity, and pushing personal limits. In Japan, diners eat fugu for the thrill but also to prove their sophistication and trust in tradition. In Sardinia, cassava marzu connects people to their land and their ancestors. A cheese that's as much about belonging as it is about taste. In Korea, sonakji tests your nerves and coordination, and in Jamaica, a key is a symbol of resilience and national pride. Food can be a way to flirt with mortality in a safe, controlled environment, a reminder of the thin line between danger and pleasure. It's no wonder that reality TV YouTube challenges and social media are filled with people trying the world's deadliest dishes, hoping to capture that perfect blend of fear, excitement, and bragging rights. But these aren't just stunts for millions. These foods are daily life, a routine blend of danger and delight. The question is, would you join them at the table? If you thought eating dangerous foods was just about thrill-seeking or cultural pride, wait until you see what's next. Some of the world's most hazardous dishes hide their risks in plain sight, camouflaged as gourmet seafood or beloved comfort foods. But lurking with toxins, parasites, or deadly bacteria. Next on our journey are two infamous delicacies, one that comes straight from the ocean's dark side, and another that might just be sitting on your dinner table right now, if you dare. Zinglo, Iceland's fermented shark. Our adventure now takes us to the windswept shores of Iceland, land known for volcanic landscapes, epic sagas, and one of the most controversial foods on the planet. At first glance, it looks like simple cubes of dried fish, nothing too exotic for a country built on fishing. But don't be fooled. It is made from Greenland shark, a species whose flesh is naturally poisonous when fresh. Why? The shark's body contains high concentrations of urea and trimethylamine oxide, chemicals that act like antifreeze in the freezing North Atlantic. If eaten raw, the flesh can cause intoxication, convulsions, or even death. So how did it become a traditional Icelandic food? Hundreds of years ago, desperate Viking settlers learned that if they buried the shark meat underground and let it ferment for several months, then hung it to dry in open sheds, the toxins would break down, making it just safe enough to eat. The result is a soft, jelly-like fish with an odor so strong it's been described as the taste of death. A mix of blue cheese and cleaning chemicals, and most famously, rotten cheese dipped in ammonia. For Icelanders, is more than a foodite, a rite of passage. At local festivals, you'll see children daring each other to swallow a bite without flinching, while adults chase it down with fiery shots of a local schnapps nicknamed Black Death. International chefs like Anthony Bourdain and Gordon Ramsay have both tried on camera, both nearly lost their lunch. Bourdain called it the single worst thing I've ever put in my mouth. But for Icelanders, the challenge is part of the fun. Why keep eating it? For some, it's nostalgia for hard times and Viking toughness, a reminder that survival sometimes means eating what others want tea. For others, it's simply tradition. Every family has their own way of serving, often passing down stories of ancestors who lived through famine by eating this pungent, deadly fish. Every January, Iceland's winter festival celebrates this and other survival foods, turning danger into communal pride. Even so, tourists beware. Many who try for a laugh are shocked by the overwhelming ammonia, which can sting your eyes and nose before you even take a bite. But if you finish your piece, you're considered an honorary Icelander. Would you be brave enough to join their ranks? Number 5. Blood clams. The virus-carrying delicacy of Asia, our journey now takes a sharp turn to the bustling food stalls of Shanghai, Bangkok, and Ho Chi Minh City, where street vendors sell a seafood delicacy that is as risky as it is delicious: blood clams. On the surface, these small reddish clams look like any other shellfish. But crack one open, and you'll find a shocking sight: bright red, almost bloody liquid oozing out. That's not just a visual trick. Blood clams have hemoglobin-rich blood, giving them their gory nickname and a cult following among adventurous eaters. The danger? Blood clams are filter feeders, sucking in water and everything in it from their often polluted habitats. In places where sanitation is less than perfect, these clams can harbor a cocktail of deadly pathogens: hepatitis A, hepatitis E, typhoid, dysentery, and even the occasional cholera bacterium. In Shanghai alone, it is estimated that more than 300,000 people were infected during a single hepatitis outbreak linked to blood clams in the late 1980s. Several countries have banned their import entirely. So why do people keep eating them? Because for many, the flavor is unbeatable: a briny, metallic taste that seafood lovers call the pure essence of the sea. In parts of China and Southeast Asia, blood clams are served raw or barely steamed, often tossed with chili, garlic, and fresh herbs. Vendors claim their clams come from clean waters, but even locals know the risks. In Vietnam, the phrase "en san" is used with a sense of both pride and nervous excitement. Eating blood clams is seen as a sign of toughness, even sophistication. Food critics praise their unique taste, and they regularly appear at fancy banquets and special celebrations. Street food tours for tourists often include a stop to sample blood clams, usually with a warning to avoid them if you're not feeling lucky. Every year, however, outbreaks remind diners that this is not a food to take lightly. Doctors in Shanghai still see cases of blood clam hepatitis during festival seasons, and international food safety organizations warn travelers to steer clear. But for locals, the risk is part of the experience, a gamble between tradition and danger. Would you roll the dice for a mouthful of liquid courage? Why the world keeps craving danger on a plate, from Iceland's freezing shores to the tropical rivers of Southeast Asia. It seems that nearly every culture has a dangerous dish, something that turns eating into an act of defiance, resilience, or sheer bravado. Psychologists suggest that people crave risk in safe doses, and nothing brings that thrill closer to home than putting it on your plate. There's a certain pride in surviving what others fear, in joining a centuries-old tradition of culinary risk-takers. Many chefs and food historians believe dangerous foods act as filters. Only the boldest, most knowledgeable, or most community-connected people dare to try them. Eating these foods becomes a badge of honor, a story to share at family gatherings, sometimes a powerful connection to ancestors who had no other choice but to risk it all for survival. Whether you see these foods as relics of hard times, tests of courage, or simply bizarre delicacies, one thing is clear: the most dangerous meals are never just about taste. They're about what it means to be human, to risk, to remember, and to celebrate life's uncertainty with every bite. So, what would it take for you to face down a plate of fermented shark or a bowl of bloody clams? Would you put tradition, taste, or thrill above safety? Or are you happy to just watch others take the risk? As our countdown continues, you might wonder what drives people to keep flirting with danger at the dinner table. Sometimes it's tradition, sometimes it's curiosity, and sometimes it's just pure bravado. The next two foods on our list prove that culinary risk-taking isn't limited by continent, class, or culture. They show how even everyday ingredients can become deadly in the wrong circumstances, and how far people are willing to go for the perfect bite. Number 4. Koi pla, the deadly fish salad of Thailand. Thailand is famous for its flavorful street food, vibrant colors, and bold spices. But among the countless delicious dishes you'll find in bustling night markets, there's one local specialty that even seasoned travelers are warned to avoid: koi pla. At first glance, koi pla looks harmless: a simple salad made from raw freshwater fish, ground with spices, lime, chili, fresh herbs, and sometimes toasted rice powder. It's beloved in Thailand's northeastern Isan region, where locals swear by its fresh taste and satisfying crunch. But behind the appealing flavors lies a silent killer. The freshwater fish used in koi pla often harbor liver flukes, tiny parasitic worms invisible to the naked eye. When eaten raw, these parasites can settle in the human liver, where they might cause little trouble at first. Over time, though, the flukes can trigger chronic inflammation, bile duct damage, and, in many cases, a particularly aggressive form of liver cancer known as cholangiocarcinoma.
How bad is the risk?
Medical researchers estimate that up to 80% of adults in some Asian villages are infected with liver flukes, and the region has one of the world's highest rates of liver cancer. Every year, thousands die from a disease they never even knew they had. Yet, despite public health campaigns and government warnings, many locals continue to eat koi pla, citing its connection to family, tradition, and even local festivals. One reason for the stubborn popularity is cultural pride. Koi pla isn't just food, it's a symbol of the region's unique identity. Sharing a bowl with friends and family is a sign of togetherness, and some say it wouldn't be a true Asian party without a serving of the infamous salad. Locals claim the flavor is unmatched, and the risk is just a part of life. Some have tried to modernize koi pla by using cooked fish or freezing the raw fish first. But many purists say that only the truly brave eat it the old-fashioned wara and unfiltered. For outsiders, the idea of risking cancer for a salad seems unthinkable. But for the people of Aisan, koi pla is a legacy, a ritual, and, for better or worse, a way to celebrate the fleeting sweetness of life in the shadow of danger. Would you dare take a bite knowing what could be lurking inside? Ash 3 bullfrog, Africa's amphibious hazard now. Let's travel south, across continents, to the wetlands of Namibia in southern Africa. Here, after the heavy rains that signal the end of the dry season, locals celebrate with a rare and risky delicacy: the African bullfrog. This enormous amphibian, sometimes weighing more than 2 pounds, is considered a prize catch, and its meat is treasured for its taste and nutritional value. Bullfrog stew is a favorite dish during festivals and special gatherings, but the African bullfrog hides a deadly secret. Toxins in its skin, organs, and even muscles can cause kidney failure, heart irregularities, and in severe cases, death. These toxins are especially concentrated in younger frogs and during certain seasons, making them even more hazardous. So how do people know when it's safe to eat? For generations, local wisdom has guided the way. Only adult frogs that have survived the first mating season are considered safe, and certain preparation methods are strictly followed to minimize risk. Despite these precautions, every year brings reports of food poisoning and hospitalizations, especially among children and newcomers unfamiliar with the rules. In one widely reported case, several villagers fell seriously ill after eating undercooked bullfrog at a celebration, prompting new government advisories on preparation and consumption. So why do people still eat bullfrog? It's like many dangerous foods. The answer is a mix of necessity and pride. In some communities, bullfrog stew is a rare source of protein at the end of the dry season, a treat that marks both survival and abundance. For many, refusing the dish is seen as an insult to local traditions and hospitality. Elders pass down stories of ancestors who endured hardship and celebrated survival by sharing a meal that could just as easily be deadly as delicious. Food anthropologists note that for Namibians, the willingness to face danger for the sake of community, heritage, and the simple joy of sharing a meal is at the heart of the bullfrog tradition. In a world of modern medicine and global food safety standards, bullfrog stew stands as a reminder that risk and reward are still deeply intertwined in human culture. Would you gamble your health for a taste of the real Namibia? The human urge to risk it all at the table. If you've made it this far, you might see a pattern emerging. Dangerous foods are rarely just about taste. They're about belonging, memory, and defiance, a way to push back against the ordinary, to mark special occasions, or to honor ancestors who survived in tougher times. For some, eating these foods is a private act of courage. For others, it's a public challenge, a chance to prove themselves to family, friends, or a whole community. Science suggests that this urge to risk is part of human nature. Psychologists call it benign masochism, the pleasure of experiencing danger in controlled doses. Whether it's through scary movies, spicy food, or even a perilous meal, across cultures, the bravest eaters are celebrated, and those who shy away from risky foods might even be teased or pitied. Yet with all the knowledge and technology we have today, the allure of dangerous dishes hasn't faded. If anything, it's grown stronger thanks to social media, food challenges, and a global hunger for adventure. For every warning label, there's someone ready to throw caution to the wind, snap a selfie, and say, "I survived." So, what's your limit? A. Would you try koi pla with locals in a Thai village, or sample bullfrog at a Namibian festival? Or would you stick to something a little less hazardous? As we approach the end of our countdown, final two foods are the ultimate test of nerves, dishes so controversial, even their mention can spark outrage. After all the harrowing dishes we've explored, you might think nothing could possibly top them. Yet the world of dangerous dining has saved the wildest for last. These final two foods push the limits of what most people can stomach both physically and mentally. In some cultures, they're considered prized delicacies. In others, their mere existence sparks debates about ethics, legality, and the definition of food itself. 2. Monkey brains, the taboo dish of controversy deep in the forests of Southeast Asia and some remote parts of Africa. A dish persists in legend and, on rare occasions, in practice, monkey brains. Few foods are as controversial, reviled, and feared as this. The idea of eating the brains of a living or freshly killed monkey has been featured in horror movies, travelogues, and urban legends for decades, while such practices are now largely illegal and condemned worldwide. Stories persist of secret feasts in hidden corners of the world. What makes monkey brains so dangerous? First, there's the medical risk. Monkey brains, like those of many primates, can harbor prion diseases, deadly neurological disorders, such as Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease, similar to mad cow disease in cattle. These diseases are untreatable, incurable, and 100% fatal. Transmission can occur through even a tiny amount of infected brain tissue. There are also risks of zoonotic viruses, bacteria, and parasites that can cross from primates to humans. Then there's the ethical and legal dimension. Hunting and eating primates is banned in most countries, both to protect endangered species and prevent the spread of diseases. The act is widely condemned by animal welfare organizations and seen as a symbol of outdated or barbaric practices. Yet rare stories continue to emerge of monkey brain consumption at covert gatherings, often for shock value or supposed medicinal benefits. In some cases, old beliefs persist that consuming the brain imparts strength or wisdom, but in reality it offers nothing but risk. There are also high-profile tales, like the infamous Indiana Jones scene, that burned the image into popular culture. Journalists and researchers who've investigated the myth usually find that, while the practice is now incredibly rare, its legend endures proof of the powerful taboo that surrounds it. Monkey brains serve as a reminder of the ultimate boundary between curiosity and caution, tradition and change. Would you ever dare to taste a dish that courts legal, ethical, and mortal danger at the same time? Or is this one culinary line you'd never cross? Hashwan-Fesik, Egypt's lethal springtime tradition. For our final entry, we travel to Egypt, where every year, families gather to celebrate Shem El Nassim, the ancient spring festival that marks the end of Lent and the coming of warmer days. At the heart of the festivities sits a dish with a deadly reputation: fesik. This traditional meal consists of gray mullet fish that has been fermented and salted for weeks, sometimes even months. The smell alone, intense, sharp, and unmistakable, is enough to make uninitiated guests gag. Why is fesik so dangerous? The preparation process, when done incorrectly, can create a perfect breeding ground for the bacteria that causes botulism, one of the deadliest forms of food poisoning. Symptoms can appear suddenly: double vision, difficulty speaking, muscle weakness, and, if left untreated, respiratory failure and death. Just a tiny amount of improperly fermented fish can be fatal. Every year, Egyptian hospitals report cases of severe illness and even deaths linked to fesik. With government warnings flooding the airwaves in the days before the festival, yet for millions of Egyptians, the risk is simply part of tradition. Fesik is seen as a delicacy, a dish that connects generations and honors the ancient customs of the Nile. Entire neighborhoods are filled with the unmistakable aroma as fishmongers prepare their secret family recipes. Some believe the key to safety is trusting only the most experienced makers who have perfected the process over decades. For many, refusing fessick at a family gathering is unthinkable, a slight to heritage and hospitality. There are stories of people traveling for hours to buy from a trusted vendor, or mothers teaching daughters the exact steps to avoid disaster. The Egyptian Ministry of Health runs nationwide campaigns, offering advice, warnings, and even emergency hotlines in the days leading up to Sham el-Nessim. But each year, a few ignore the warnings or take a chance on unlicensed sellers, and tragedy strikes. Despite the risks, the tradition endures. For Egyptians, sharing fessick is about more than just food. It's about memory, family, and the sweet taste of survival against the odds. Would you take the chance for the sake of tradition, or pass up the most infamous spring meal on earth? It's a final bite. Why danger will always be on the menu. As our journey through the world's most dangerous foods comes to a close, one thing is clear. Risk is woven deep into the human experience. Across every continent, people have embraced peril at the dinner table for thousands of years, sometimes out of necessity, sometimes for the thrill, sometimes to feel closer to family, ancestors, or culture. Whether it's the precision of a fugu chef in Japan, the bravado of eating koi pla in Thailand, or the determination to honor a springtime ritual in Egypt, food is never just about filling our stomachs. It's about stories, identity, connection, and that unforgettable mix of danger and delight. Maybe that's why, even in our sanitized, safety-obsessed modern world, these dangerous delicacies continue to fascinate, shock, and inspire. Social media, travel shows, and daredevil foodies ensure the legend lives on, proof that, for some, the greatest flavor is the taste of adventure itself. So now, it's your turn. Would you dare to try any of the world's most dangerous foods? Or do you think some flavors are better left untasted? Let us know in the comments which dish shocked you the most and which one you'd try if you had the chance. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Top Tier 10 for more wild, surprising top 10s every week, and share this list with the bravest foodie you know. The world of food is big, bold, sometimes even deadly, and we'll keep bringing you the stories that make your heart race. See you in the next adventure.